So I came out of this experience in 2008, and I was deeply moved by the discoveries from that time. I spent 2.5 years in the White House, and I came out of the White House in 2011, and I really just was still passionate about these discoveries from that time. I started writing a book, Campaign Inc., which actually documented my leadership lessons from that time building Obama for America. And there were 3 things that were coming together as I was coming out to discover the world anew. First was, I had really become consumed by this idea of the physics of new leadership. So I was spending I understood that there were 2 very different paradigms, and that I had that there were new rules for these, very separate rules for these 2 different paradigms, and so I was really digging into that. Secondly, I started to realize, I looked at the world with fresh eyes. You know, the campaign was actually a bubble, and the White House was certainly a bubble. So I had been in something of a bubble for 4.5 years, and coming out with, with fresh eyes, with a rested spirit, with this new lens on leadership, I was seeing the world very differently on this reemergence. And then, lastly, I had become acquainted with social impact leaders at Ashoka. And so about 6 months into my political retirement, I met a gentleman who founded Ashoka. His name was Bill Drayton. And I started becoming acquainted not just with the big ideas and the dramatic change that social entrepreneurs can have in society, but also with the way they worked as social impact leaders. And so these 3 things collided to give me a very new look at the world. And let me tell you what I discovered. For many generations, society has had a unique sort of design, which is based on a few people at the top telling other people in the system how to repeat their skills faster and faster, harmoniously, in a siloed system. The limits of this one leader at a time model have become evident, and we're starting to see that our institutions are getting bogged down, and problems are beginning to outrace solutions. And today, the walls of vertical society are coming down to reveal a new landscape. It's fast, it's fluid, and it's hybrid in its character. With hierarchies flattening, silos collapsing, advances in technology lowering the barriers for everyone to participate in society, we all can access information. We can all participate in all the different elements of the world around us. This is creating a very new landscape. And this level of individual empowerment, by the way, we all carry in our pockets and purses small devices that were only available to a few just decades ago. Our personal networks, our collaboration platforms like Facebook, our printing presses, distribution channels, these are all available and they're right at our fingertips, and they can be applied to any problem or opportunity at any moment. And this is changing society, and it is contributing to what I call the Changemaker effect. And I stated it before, but I'll state it again. The rate of change accelerates in our everyone leading world relative to our one leader at a time past, because all of us now are making change. And when you have that level of change happening all around you in society, it's changing the nature of our system from what has historically been a world long defined by repetition to a world that's now defined by change. Now, this is dramatic. We've long had evolutionary change, so things have gotten incrementally faster, but I'm not talking about the speed of change. I mean, I saw a special with Henry VIII, and he was complaining about the speed of change in his time. What I'm talking about here is the nature of change, going from a world of repetition to a world of change. This is as dramatic as going from a flat world to a round world. The maps that you used in the flat world would not work in the round one. And that's essentially what's happening as we take our old frameworks from the one leader at a time system and try to apply them to the everyone leads system. So let me actually maybe say this in a different way with a story. Imagine a football player. He's getting ready for the game. He's in the locker room, He's putting his pads over his shoulder. He puts on his jersey, wraps his bulky armor frame. He's now putting on his helmet. He straps on his chin strap, and now he's going to burst through the tunnel, and he's going to meet his fellow players out on the field. This is a game he's prepared for his whole life. And as he bursts through the tunnel, gets closer to the field, the warm glow of the spotlight on the deep green field, he slows down. His pace slows. Something is wrong. The nets are down. The goalposts that mark each side of the field are down. There's 2 nets that are up. The pigskin football that he's used to has been replaced with a round ball that's spinning out a black and white pattern. And the players are unfamiliar. They're not wearing the same armor that he is. They have shorts. They are light clothing. Their hair is flying in the wind. The game has changed. There's 3 reactions that you can have when the game changes. First, you can stand on the sidelines, frozen, watching the activity, not knowing what to do, and that will keep you a fixture on the sidelines and make you quickly irrelevant. Second, you can double down on what you know. In this case, that might entail lowering your helmet and running full speed into those unsuspecting players. But that would make you unpredictable, worrisome, and even dangerous, and you'd be cast aside and marginalized the same way. The third thing is to see differently and react differently. Understand that there's a new game being played and try to figure out a new framework for the new game. That's the point that we're at in society as we are similarly faced with a game-changing moment. We are moving from a world of repetition to a world of change. It requires new frameworks. It's going to challenge everything we understand about the world that we've been in, about our notions about leadership, our notions about teamwork. And so let me share with you a few differences between the two paradigms. One paradigm, the old paradigm is based on repetitive skills executed harmoniously in a vertical system. The new paradigm, teams of teams working fluidly across old boundaries to address complex problems. Now, in the old game, you had to have a skill. In the new game, you need 4 core skills, and we're going to talk to them a little bit later, but let me introduce them now. Empathy, co-creative teamwork, a new kind of leadership, an everyone leads outlook, and change-making for the good. The old system was defined by efficiency and repetition. The new system is defined by innovation and change. And then, 1 leader at a time. The old system defined by 1 leader at a time. The new system defined by everyone recognized as a leader and a full contributor. I like to say, on the one hand, 1 person big, everyone else small. In the new system, everyone stepping into their bigness.